I was 10 years old when I first listened to the album, and it never went away. And I didn't see any reason why something that's been performed thousands of times on stages all over the world, which is West Side Story, couldn't have more than one motion picture made of it.
Most people have a short list of beloved movies they can't even conceive of being remade. Even, sometimes, filmmakers themselves.
E.T. phone home. I'll be right here.
A film not on Steven Spielberg's list, though one considered sacrosanct to many, is West Side Story. A smash hit in 1961, that year's highest grossing film also sweeping the Oscars, West Side Story was a phenomenon. Perhaps that was to be expected since the 1957 theatrical original itself ripped through traditional stage musical conventions. Sure, it took Shakespeare's most famous tragic love story, Romeo and Juliet, as its old-fashioned inspiration, but the setting amid racially explosive street gang warfare, its fusion of classical ballet and contemporary jazz rhythms, the combination of Arthur Lawrence's gritty book and Stephen Sondheim's deft lyrics.
When you're a jet, all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day.
Leonard Bernstein's rousing orchestrations and director Jerome Robbins' electrifying choreography were fiercely modern. Still, there's a strong case that it was the movie that cemented West Side Story's place in the American canon. The Broadway show was arguably a little ahead of its time. On-stage knife fights, even attempted rape, genuinely shocking. Whereas by the early 1960s, Hollywood's screen depictions of troubled, often violent youths was a regular and popular trend. What was less familiar was a musical set in and shot on the streets. West Side Story wasn't the very first, and neither was On the Town for that matter, but it exploited New York's locations in such expressive ways, using cranes or digging trenches to accentuate movement, posture, dynamism. That aerial establishing shot looking down over building tops that's now a cliche in every other urban thriller, that began here. And legendary designer Saul Bass's graffiti-style end credits were both something never seen before and entirely in keeping with the film's rebellious, youthful world. Veteran filmmaker and one-time Orson Welles editor Robert Wise co-directed the film with Jerome Robbins. Their combination of experience and innovation, treating the cast as both fine actors and dancers, the expressive color palettes and sinuous editing, accentuating the dynamic choreography and music, enhanced West Side Story's cinematic potential and the visual vocabulary for screen musicals. So, what exactly did Steven Spielberg feel he could bring to the party? Well, firstly there's his virtuoso filmmaking, shot after shot after shot of peerless composition, framing and lighting. His fluid, immersive staging, sometimes defined as the Spielberg oneer or long take, is in full effect, sometimes more ostentatiously than he typically has used it.
Don't kill me!
Take the opening scene. Unlike the 61 original series of wide cityscape shots that gradually descend onto the jets, here we're situated inside New York's demolished urban jungle, looking more like something out of Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan war zone, clearly about to be gentrified and cleared of its poorest denizens. When the jets are finally revealed, they literally come out of the ground like street rats. Their poverty and lack of turf brought home much more explicitly than the earlier film's strangely clean-cut gang. Then there's the Sharks' excited arrival at the gym dance. and how the camera sweeps over, alongside, and practically dances with the performers on the floor. It even adds in storylines, wannabe jet anybody's messing up, and police suspicion of the sharks. Later in the same scene, another Spielberg oneer creates and links two wide shots of both rival groups of dancers through a quick pan, then moves in for the inciting collision between Riff and Bernardo, then back out again to take in how quickly the potential for violence can spread. None of this is a knock on the 61 version's gym scene, a stylish and stylized series of expertly choreographed and rhythmically edited shots. But it does highlight the shift in focus on the respective gangs. Bernardo's sharks situated much more passively and discreetly here than in Spielberg's film. The remake also allowing the Puerto Ricans more agency and integration, at least within the narrative, increasing tensions and heightening the central conflict.
Oye, Javi, ponle fuego, vamos!
Racial authenticity was clearly crucial to Spielberg and screenwriter Tony Kushner when casting the Puerto Rican sharks.
And for pride, mi hermano, orgullo puertorriqueño.
Whereas several 61 actors infamously had their skin tones darkened. In fact, Greek-American George Chakiris, exquisite as Bernardo, had actually played jet leader Riff on stage. The 2021 sharks regularly speak Spanish, unsubtitled for viewers no less, when with each other, much to the chagrin of the even more openly racist Lieutenant Schrank.
We're outnumbered, boys. Thousands more are on their way.
Kushner even weaves in the then banned Puerto Rico anthem La Borinqueña, making it the very first song that the gang defiantly sings.
I like to be in America.
In 1961, Stephen Sondheim already championed lyrical change in America. The stage's all-female number improved, he felt, by shifting the lyrics to the movie's boy versus girl immigrant tale.
I have my own washing machine.
What will you have though to keep clean?
It's arguably the highlight of the film. Nigh on unimprovable?
America, la 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 la, America.
America.
Spielberg and co. keep Bernardo and Anita's spicy sparring, but widen the scope, turning the number into effectively a block party, a vibrant, joyful celebration of their Hispanic community. Yet the community's rejection is never downplayed. The remake's biggest gamble is replacing Tony's lovable American boss, Doc,
Buenas noches, señor. Buenas noches.
with his Puerto Rican widow, Valentina, played by the original Anita,
I'm happy to see you again.
Rita Moreno. Valentina offers a different perspective on hard-won and ongoing cultural acceptance. By giving her Somewhere, usually the young lover's heart-to-heart ballad, Kushner and Spielberg turn the song into a pained collective prayer that acknowledges bigotry and heartbreak, but still holds out hope. It's a profound, revelatory transformation. But that's the 2021 West Side Story all over. Cool, used in 61 for the Jets to get over Riff's death, here becomes a battle of wills and a firearm between Riff and Tony, and finally even gives Tony some dance moves.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
The lyrics to I Feel Pretty, that Sondheim always disliked as unrealistic for Maria's own expressions, here are cleverly parlayed from department store marketing and thus seem more plausible.
Oh, Rick, you gotta let me in the gang.
Anybody's was always an androgynous character,
How else is she gonna get a guy to touch her?
Dirty rat!
but making the character trans and played by a non-binary actor adds nuance and poignancy to their striving for acceptance within the gang.
She's a girl.
I said I ain't no goddamn girl, you shriveled dick dago panty!
The remake adds anybody's solidarity with Anita, a fellow abused minority, just before the Jets attack her.
Leave.
Clearly showing which so-called masculine traits they ultimately choose to reject. This isn't woke set dressing, but an object lesson in updating and refreshing even a classic. Spielberg himself may have feared that remakes, quote, cheapen the original. His own reinvention of West Side Story is the best counterpoint to that claim, more than earning its place alongside its predecessor in the pantheon of great movie musicals.
Gino, you will keep both eyes on Maria tonight in case I cannot. You too, Anita.
My brother is a silly watchdog.
My sister is a precious jewel.
What am I? Cut glass?